I went to go grab this hat because I forgot my hat today, and I don't want our guests to be blinded by my bald head from this artificial light in here. But our apparel aisle is killer right now with all the new apparel that we got in. We've been getting some pretty awesome apparel in for the last like year and a half, but in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 months, the last 2 batches of hats, performance shirts, t-shirts,
men and women,
unisex.
Yep.
Unisex, but now we got like an actual women's tee, a couple of them. We got that Seafoam Performance long sleeve, and then what's the other one?
The Trout tee.
Oh, it's the women's Trout tee. That's really nice.
Reminds me of like a California tee.
Yeah,
it's like a California surfer tee.
I feel good today. I got my Magnum PI shirt going on. Do you remember Magnum PI?
Nah.
Tom Selleck. It was like late 80s, early 90s. I was like just kind of ending when I was young enough to like know what Magnum. The dude had the sickest mustache in the history of mustaches. Basically,
it's a sharp shirt.
It's my wife got it for me. She steamed it the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna wear this shirt, and she'll appreciate that.
You look good.
So thank you. No, I really do feel like Magnum PI, which was a sick show. You guys should check that out. Well, anyways, folks, welcome to the program. This is Cortland Hooked, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooks Robinson. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Richard Nicoletti. What's up, Ricky?
What's going on, Brooks?
Same old. And stand-in Scotty, Mr. Scott McCann, Scotty Too Hotty. Today is sit-in Scotty. Yeah. Scotty, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you boys being on today. So we got an awesome guest today. I was gonna try to think of a way to like build up the hype, but I'm just gonna get to the point. Mr. Jon Hardman from Hardman Fishing Adventures will be joining us today. Dude's awesome. He's got a killer YouTube page. I know we've been checking out a couple of his videos recently once we realized he was gonna be on, but just an awesome trout fisherman, really nice person, great videos, pretty good information, good techniques. The dude catches some wicked fish in some pretty cool places. I just like watching his videos, to be honest with you. When we built this studio, when we were kind of building it out for like 3 days, we would just throw up his videos on the YouTube on our big screen.
He's number 3. When you type in fly fishing on YouTube, he's like the 3rd person.
Yeah.
That's right. He's right there.
And not that, we had Travis Manson on, talked about his YouTube. We don't just do YouTube here. It just happens to be a couple guests in a row that we're kind of going to get into some of their YouTube stuff. But no, the dude's page is killer. I like watching his. I mean, I trout fish all the time, but I actually like watching his stuff. He does different techniques, streamer fishes, he nymphs, he dry flies, small streams, big rivers, medium-sized stuff. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him. We'll go over, all the stuff that he does, which I'm kind of excited to have him elaborate on some questions I have. So, other than that, kind of current events, I mean, being pretty close to the heart of fall coming up here, I'm excited for fall. I used to hate the fall, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it would be like, end of August in upstate New York, we would, the leaves would start to change color, and I would just get wicked depressed because I knew I was going back to school, and I was the worst student.
It starts getting dark.
Yeah, it starts getting dark. I knew we had to go back to school. I was a terrible student. All I wanted to do was hunt and fish, and that was coming to an end. So, like, as soon as I would see, like, the first leaf on a maple tree start to change, I would just get in, like, this weird state of depression. But now things are a little different. Now that I'm over school, dude, the fishing in the fall is awesome. The hunting in the fall is awesome. we start to get on the road and travel a little bit for sales stuff for Cortland. So that's pretty cool. You get to go see some places that, you might only see a couple times a year, but in a different time frame. So I'm looking forward to fall. You got anything coming up in the fall?
I'm getting ready for the salmon season.
Yeah,
definitely going to go up there.
Steelhead season. Yeah.
Yep.
Lake run fishing. So for those of you that don't know, and most of you probably listening won't, but like fall trout fishing, it can be really good. But around here, it's just we don't get the rain in time. And once it does rain and we get the rain, the fish are kind of on the spawn. Yeah. So we kind of...
There's like there's no fall great. Trout streamer season really.
There is, but it's got to be the right year. You got to get those September rains. Yeah. And it's just mostly bone dry up here in September. Yeah. With the occasional, once every 5 or 6 years, we get a good weather system and we can get out there and do some good fall fishing.
Last year wasn't terrible.
No, last year was not terrible. Year wasn't terrible. I know we look forward to, the Great Lakes lake run fishing, rainbows, browns, steelhead, salmon. It's really fun. Hunting's great. Or you got anything you're looking for? Like what's on the menu for Richard Nicoletti this fall?
Man, so I did a good job keeping my November pretty clear, and we're hoping to get on the boat and do quite a bit of muskie fishing, tiger.
Oh yeah, muskie fishing.
Trying to dial that in last year.
Smallmouth bass fishing's fun in the fall. Those things get watered up pretty good on some bait.
Yeah, this year our boat has a floor, so we're motors working and starting up.
You guys have put a lot of effort into that boat.
Yeah, and it's going to pay off. So
no, I'm looking forward to the fall. It's a lot of good things that go on here at Cortland. We got all the new stuff for 2023 coming in, going on the shelf. A lot of that hard work is behind us as far as, product descriptions, pictures, catalog. Like that stuff just is long, it's tedious, it's very important, and it takes a while. But now we get to kind of see, what do they call it, the fruits of your labor, as far as the phrase.
And then we get
butchered
to start
that, but
then we start for next year though, and it's like the fall is like the best time to just relax and dial in what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you finally get out on the road and sell the stuff you've been working on for 6, 12, 18 months. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I would never used to look forward to the fall. So now that kind of things have flipped since I've graduated. The biggest thing was, I used to play high school golf for 3 or 4 years in high school. So once they switched golf from spring to fall, I started playing golf in the fall in high school. And I would look forward to that because preseason was in August, and it's gorgeous in August in upstate New York. And my dad would drop me off at golf practice at 8 in the morning, and the golf course would let us play for free if we walked all day. Dude, we played like 60-something holes a day for like 3 straight weeks of preseason golf. So it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then I dreaded it in college because college lacrosse would start, and basically it was just nothing but conditioning for like 2 months, and I was terrible at conditioning. So, but yeah, we're wrapping up, last few days of nice weather before things start to get cold again, or cooler, I should say. But speaking of golf, the boys and I went golfing last weekend, and Matt, the engineer, who you don't see on camera, he's behind the camera. Someday he'll peek his head around and you'll show him. So Matt has been striving to be a great golfer, and he has come a long ways. Richard is a good golfer. I personally just whoop everyone's ass every time we play, so I don't really have anything going for me. But Matt's goal, pretty much since day one, whether he told anyone or not, was to beat Richard in a round of golf.
You knew it was there the entire time.
Yeah, like you could just see it in Matt's eye. Like every time you would hit, like I feel
it in the back of my neck.
I feel like he's like, get in the bunker, get in the bunker. He was rooting for your ball to go in a hazard, in a bunker, lip out, top it, duff it, you name it. And like after 4 or 5 rounds, like Matt kind of would slip up and like kind of say those things out loud. I'm like, you really want to beat Ricky? He's like, every time I want to beat Ricky. I want to beat him so bad. So anyways, Sunday, it was really hot. It was tough. It was humid. And Matt played the round of his life, and Ricky played the worst round of his life. And when I tallied them up at the end of the day, Matt finally took down Richard by 8 strokes. And I told Richard, I said, if we don't get on the golf course before this year's over, Matt is going to talk so much shit until the next year we get out there and play. So
I'm already trying to reschedule the next one.
We're trying to get out there one last time before the season ends. Matt, I think, is going to come up with some excuse not to go out so he can keep that win streak of 1 going. But Matt's dying behind the camera.
There's no excuses for it. I don't want to elaborate. It was just poor performance.
Oh, you did.
All around.
It was terrible. I didn't even want to mention how bad you were playing. So
it was like,
it was embarrassing.
Everyone's got to have
honestly.
an off day. Yeah, everyone's got to have an off.
You got
day.
any gigs coming up? When's your next guitar gig for your band?
I am playing a private party this Saturday on Otisco Lake. Which
Okay,
would be cool.
That'll be cool.
Nice afternoon
yeah.
party. Then next Thursday, I'm playing the Solvay Field Day. So
Interesting.
probably leave work early a little bit.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'd have to talk to HR about that. All right, so let's get to our guest here. I see John lurking in the background.
Got a native's hat on too.
John, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh,
All right.
you've got crispy Wi-Fi. John, where are you located right now?
I'm in West Virginia right now, so the fact that I have crispy Wi-Fi is a little bit of a miracle, but I'll take it.
I wasn't going to say it, but you said it. Yeah, it's funny. I live in the city of Syracuse. Our Wi-Fi is terrible. I'm not going to jinx our Wi-Fi in our office, in our little studio, because we're kind of back in the office here, and it can be spotty at times. So we're going to roll with it the way it is. Thanks for joining us, man. How is you work a full-time job, right? You don't just trout fish all the time, right?
Man, I wish I trout fish all the time. No, yeah, I work a full-time job. I work for the Department of Environmental Protection. So
Ooh,
Cool.
By day, I protect the water, and then on the weekends, I run around and fish the water that I protect. So works out pretty good.
yeah. You should say you wreck the water on the weekends because you crush it fishing. That's awesome. Where were you born? Where were you raised? Always in West Virginia?
So I was born and raised down in southern West Virginia, around the Beckley area. Actually was born in Beckley, and then I was raised in like the Oak Hill area. I lived here pretty much my entire life, except for one stint for 2 years. I lived down in Florida for a while, Fort Myers area. Did a bunch of saltwater fishing, and then just recently, like a little over a year ago now, moved back up to West Virginia. And funny enough, I had worse Wi-Fi in Florida than I do here in West Virginia. So
It's crazy. Are you in a pretty most of West Virginia's mountain region. Are you kind of in one of those areas in West Virginia? Rolling Appalachian Hills, or if you want to call them those?
yeah. So I live out in kind of like the northeastern portion of West Virginia right now, which is pretty much the most mountainous area.
Sure.
I mean, I'm like 15 minutes from the Monongahela National Forest.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
That river, what, runs north to Pittsburgh, correct?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's called the Monongahela National Forest, and I guess some of it is maybe the very headwaters of the Monongahela.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, we've got the headwaters of several different areas around here.
Sure.
So, like Potomac's another one.
Yep, the Potomac, yep. That's a great fit. I mean, from your videos, looks like you got a lot of great places to fish kind of in your region, which is awesome. I was telling these guys before you jumped on, when we were setting up the studio, when we had chatted about who we were going to have on the guests, I think even before we reached out to you to see if you want to do it, we just started watching your YouTube channel when we were setting up the studio. And I mean, killer streams you got, some big ones, some small ones, a lot of great fish going on, brown trout, brook trout. You guys have any rainbows down there, or is it mostly browns and brookies? I know the Potomac has some rainbows, I think. What else you got down there?
It's almost entirely brown trout and brook trout, or at least that's what I chase the most. We have a few pretty good wild rainbow trout streams, but again, it's like few and far between. But most streams have, well, I shouldn't say most streams. A lot of the areas, as long as you're in the mountainous areas of West Virginia, like as long as you kind of stay east, northeast-ish, or south, most of the areas have some sort of brown trout in them.
Sure.
Or native brook trout if you're lucky. So.
And from watching your videos, it looks like probably like 99% of them are wild browns too, which is something that we kind of hold very dear to our hearts.
Yeah,
here.
we have a mix, like upstate New York, and I'll let him answer your question, Ricky. Sorry. I mean, we don't have great wild rainbow trout fisheries here. I mean, the Delaware system is kind of a man-made fishery, awesome rainbow fishery, but it's mostly browns and rainbows up here. But, you know, our issue is we get, it's a little more populated up here than where you are. Not much, but it is. But we kind of get a mix of stocked fish and wild fish. So, you know, we really pride ourselves in trying to target wild fish. Not every stream is like that. Some are more than others. But like Ricky was saying, it looks like, I mean, the majority of fish you're targeting and catching are wild, at least the ones you put on camera. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are. But that's mostly because that's just what I like chasing.
Sure.
Like, as you guys said, I mean, we've got loads of stock trout streams and stuff. I would argue that, like, the West Virginia culture is definitely more of a stocked trout culture.
Yep.
Like, you know, like, oh, it's stocking season.
For
Everybody
sure.
runs out and follows the stock truck to the nearest fishing hole. But I try to avoid that because I just don't like dealing with the crap. But yeah, most of the fish in my videos are wild, if not all of them. Some of them could be holdovers, maybe, but for the most part, it's all wild trout.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing in New York. It's the same thing in Pennsylvania. I'm the sales rep for Cortland in Pennsylvania. Sounds like it's the same thing down there. Stocking, obviously. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's for. You know, it's for people to go and enjoy and catch fish. You know what I mean? So, and we find the same thing is when they stock those streams, they tell you when they're going to stock them, where they're going to stock them. It draws a lot of people there, but what I like about it is it takes people away from the other trout streams that aren't stocked, that have wild fish. So end up finding less people around where we are and more people around places you don't want to be. But I'm glad they stock some streams. It's easy access in most of the places they do it. Lets people enjoy, catching trout. So yeah, sounds like you kind of live in an area similar to where we are. Some trout, stock streams, some wild. Hey, when did you moved to Florida for a couple years, came back. When did you start fly fishing? Like, did you always have a fly rod in your hand, or did you kind of just get a bug and start going?
I mean, my dad bought me a fly rod when I was a lot younger, and me and my brother would like play with it from time to time. But when I was younger, I was mostly doing bass fishing, a lot of smallmouth fishing and stuff. There's a lot of good smallie fishing around, and that's just what I was more so into. And fly fishing, I mean, you can fly fish for smallmouth, of course, but when I was in high school and stuff, it was just like, why would I pick up a fly rod and go through the trouble of trying to learn how to double haul a popper when I can just chuck a gulp out there and catch fish? So it wasn't until, I don't know, probably maybe 5 years ago or so now, I started kind of taking it more seriously. And it was mostly because there's actually one summer in particular that just rained a lot and our rivers were just constantly high and muddy. And so I was kind of forced into trout fishing, and especially like chasing wild trout and stuff because they don't stock during the summer. Sure. And it was during that period where I was like trout fishing a lot. And then I was just like, you know what, let's try fly fishing. And I already knew how to catch fish, so I think the transition into fly fishing, wasn't as difficult as people maybe lead you on to believe. Because like once you know how to catch a fish, it's just kind of like changing the techniques. Yep. You're still catching the same fish; they're doing the same thing. So I picked up fly fishing and started doing it a lot, and yeah, it kind of became an obsession because like it's never ending. You think you're kind of good at streamer fishing, and then you start nymphing, and you're like, whoa, I can't nymph. And then you like kind of think you're good at nymphing, and then you're like throwing a dry fly, and you're like, whoa, I can't catch a fish on a dry fly. Sure. And then if you think you're good, go to a different state, and then you can't catch them in that state, and you're like, man, I really don't know anything. So it's like an evolving process of just continuing to learn more and more. So
it looks like you've been out traveling quite a bit the last couple of years, getting out west and kind of challenging yourself some of those high mountain ponds and lakes, and kind of explain that. So did a lot of recon go into those trips, or were you just showing up with a chubby, kind of sending it? And
so both. I'm literally, I kid you not, I was packing before I hopped on the call for this podcast, and I'm hop on a flight to Denver literally tomorrow and meeting my brother out there, and we're going to be spending the week out in the Rockies. So, but traveling is what I want to do more of. if I had it my way, I'd just be traveling all summer, fishing different various places. Yeah, like I guess the first time or two I went out west, like out to Colorado and stuff, it was a lot of research, a lot of like just trying to figure out like what drainages had what fish, and like I really wanted to catch cutthroat, but like cutthroat out west was kind of like brook trout out east. Like people kind of hold them near and dear to their hearts, so there's not a whole lot of info on them. You really have to dig for it. But now it's more so kind of, I keep going back to Colorado because I kind of know Colorado and it's just easy for me now. I'm like, oh, I know that there's brook trout in this certain areas, and you just explore a little bit more every time you go.
For sure.
Yeah, I love it out there.
That's
and it's
cool.
so different. It's so different.
Do you, and sometimes you got to travel where the fish are certain years. Like in West Virginia, I assume your water's low in the summertime. It's low here. Do you have really high temperatures in the summertime where you'd kind of have to quit trout fishing, you know what I mean, as far as a catch and release standpoint, where it gets too warm? Or do you have a lot of spring influx in your water where it keeps them cool and you're good to go all summer? Like how does that look kind of in your area?
Yeah, I mean, we have a little bit of both. There's a lot of places that I wouldn't fish in the summer, like this time of the year. This year's been an exception because I don't know about you guys, but for us, I mean, we have had an unusually wet and cold summer. I mean, some of the higher elevations in West Virginia, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think Canaan Valley got down to 30 degrees. It frosted in August. Like, that's just an example of the fact that, like, this summer, I haven't even had to think about it hardly.
Sure.
Yeah, typically, a lot of the rivers and stuff that maybe hold some really good wild browns, this time of the year, you probably should be leaving them alone because that water temp will push up into the upper 60s, maybe even pushing 70.
Sure.
But generally, a lot of places that have trout, like a lot of the brookie streams, water temperatures aren't really an issue for those. They're usually either spring fed or at like a high enough elevation that, you know, the temperatures at night kind of drop low enough to keep those temps down.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, especially the bigger water this time of the year, it's good to, or at least like in July, August, it's really good to, you know, at least have a thermometer or have some way of just knowing like, oh, these fish aren't acting right, or, you know, this water feels awfully warm when I stick my feet into wet wade, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
There's
I'll let these fish.
Something's up.
Totally.
Take a break for a second.
Yeah, it's the same thing up here. Like, we usually quit our freestones pretty much late June. It's pretty much over every year.
If we get to late June.
If we get to late June, some years we might get to July. But we live an hour away from the Upper Delaware system, which is a tailwater system, and pretty much July and August we start going down there. That's kind of our trout fishing. It's literally 1 hour from the office, so we're kind of spoiled to have that. So yeah, we do the freestone stuff around here, and then by July we head down there for a couple months.
I just wanted to say that Delaware system, I've been trying to make it out there for, oh man, I wanted to go this summer. I just don't think I'm going to swing it right now, but I was talking to people earlier this summer about trying to finagle my way out to the Delaware and fish some of those tailwaters for that exact reason, because they're tailwaters, and it just gets that time of the year where it's like, okay, what tailwaters haven't I hit that are like within a decent driving distance to me?
Sure. Yeah, it's still a poke for you, but I mean, if you've never been there, it is one of the most scenic places. I mean, I talk to people that travel around the world and trout fish, and they say the only place they would rather be is on the main stem of the Delaware.
I don't think there's many places that have hatches.
No, the bug life is just
that size.
I mean, there's days when there's not much going on for bugs, but I'd say at least 2 or 3 days out of the week is just like an astronomical amount of bugs. The hatches, like the variation of mayflies and caddis and flying ants. It's cool. It's super hard to catch them on a dry fly. They are, I feel like, some of the smartest fish in the world. It's very painful, especially like summertime when you see them eating small sulfur duns. And, you know, most of the time you see a fish eat, you're like, I'm not sure what that fish is eating, but you're talking a bright yellow sulfur and you're seeing this fish just plowing them, and you're putting on something exactly what they're eating, and they just refuse to eat your fly on 7X. And I'm just like, I don't know what I got to do here to catch one of these damn trout, but I guess that, you know, what makes it fun. You know, if it was easy, the place would just be an absolute mob scene.
It still is
It still is, but anyways, if you do decide to come up next year, why don't you get a hold of us and we'll make it happen. You know, we'll go down there and, you know, help show you a couple spots, whatever, some access points, get us out of the office. We would appreciate that. So yeah, maybe we'll try to do that next year. So for those of you that don't know, we know Jon through, well, actually we don't know Jon, but we know of Jon through one of our boys at work, Chris Rochford, was on the internet one day. He's clicking around and he's like, yo, come over here. I'm like, what's up? He's like, did you see the video this guy did? I'm like, no, what is it? And it was your video called the like Walmart Fly Fishing Challenge or Fair Play Fly Fishing Challenge. So basically, Jon did a video with our Fair Play products. And for those of you that don't know, we have a whole lineup of entry-level, beginner, price point level products in fly fishing. I mean, the whole thing, combo outfits, nets, forceps, nippers, flies, leaders, tippet, pretty much everything you need to get on the water and fly fish in our Fair Play series at a very affordable price. And it's all stuff that we put a lot of time and effort in designing, making sure the quality's there, so that guys can have a good experience. So what made you want to do the Fair Play Fly Fishing Challenge? Eventually, I mean, that's how we became to kind of know of you and your page by doing that. So, I mean, what is it, just something that sparked your interest? You're like, let me check this stuff out. Like, how did that go down?
Yeah, I mean, it was more so about just you if you get on YouTube today, it's like no secret that like a lot of the fishing space on YouTube is dominated by like these crazy challenge videos and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I looked and like nobody really does that in fly fishing, and it's kind of hard to do that in fly fishing. And I was like, man, if I do a challenge video like that, I want it to be like more than just your average, like, oh, look, I spent $5 and I can catch a fish. Like, okay, so I don't really know what that proves. And like, it's kind of like I don't know, it's a very service level video idea.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do a challenge like this, like there's got to be a reasoning behind the video. And there's like this overarching theme in fly fishing where people just think that like it's super expensive. Like, you know,
100%.
When you think
Yep.
of fly fishing, you think of it as like an elite sport, you know, a bunch of old rich white dudes out there flipping a fly around. And it's just, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, you can spend a lot of money, but you can spend a lot of money doing anything if you wanted to. So then I was like, then I kind of came up with that idea and I was like, I'll do a Walmart fly fishing challenge, but the whole theme will be proving that you don't have to spend, you know, $600 on a combo to then go catch trout. So I was like, I was gonna go to Walmart. And I knew that Walmart had some Cortland Fair Play stuff, and I had heard of Cortland, and I used Cortland before, especially for like leaders and line and stuff like that. So when I went to Walmart, it was kind of just made up on the fly. I was like, I'm just going to buy something that's like somewhat cheap that I think will work. And I saw the Cortland stuff, and like it came like it was the Fair Play stuff, but it came with like a reel that was fully loaded with line, and it had a rod. I think it was like a 5-weight rod. I mean, it was like exactly what I needed. And then I think I bought it was Cortland. It might even been Cortland flies or some sort of like little woolly bug.
Yeah, some woolly buggers. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted something really simple so I could go out and be like, guys, listen, a woolly bugger is just like a jig. Just go out and jig along the bottom and you'll catch trout. Like, because I wanted it to be something that would translate for people that were spin fishermen, or maybe, you know, I want to get into fly fishing. I don't really know how to get into fly fishing. Like, I'm interested from afar. I see people do it and it's interesting, or maybe they'd seen a video of mine or anybody's video and they're like, you know what, fly fishing looks cool, but how do I get into it? So I was like, man, in my mind, I was like, if I can go to Walmart, and I think I spent maybe $90 total, which like if you're spending at least $90 on a spin combo to go catch fish anyway.
Absolutely.
You know, like it's the exact same price. So then it was kind of just like, okay, so here, you know, I spent $90 and then I went and caught, I don't know, I caught several really nice wild browns, which actually surprised me too. I wasn't sure. The creek that I went to, I was like, it's like hit or miss. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch fish on it or not. And then I went there and like first rock, like a 15-inch wild brown. And I was like, whoa, here we go. And then I just kept catching them. I mean, it was just like, it kind of like all fell into place.
Yeah, it was a great.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it was a fun video to make.
It was a great video. For all of you listening and watching, you guys got to check that out. I mean, we appreciate you doing the video. It definitely highlighted our products. Ricky and I were looking at your page today. It's one of your best videos in terms of views, which is awesome. Maybe that's just us at the office watching it all the time because we were proud of your video and what we make. I mean, your page is just phenomenal in general. I love the content. I love your attitude. You're good with information. You're well versed in different techniques. You have a good personality. You're not cocky. It's very inviting to watch your stuff. You have just ranges of stuff like Richard mentioned. You go different places. It's just all around. It's an awesome YouTube page. There's so much information out there right now, like on social media and YouTube and everything. And to be honest with you, like a lot of it's garbage. I think having you on, I hope that we can help steer some people into looking at your page just because it's dynamite stuff. The content's there. Like I said, you're a great person and you're a good teacher when it comes to it. So, you're one of definitely the top pages. I feel like that people, if they're going to go look for fly fishing on YouTube, you guys got to check out, Mr. Hardman Fishing Adventures. So, thank you, man. Yeah, no, I really mean that. I know the guys here think the same thing.
I think he just does a good job showing the full story. I mean, like a lot of stuff you see on social media today, it's all just a highlight reel.
Oh yeah.
Every cast, the guy's banging a 20.
Yeah.
And you're just like, damn.
John starts his videos from like the truck, getting ready, the walk in, the good, the bad. You film with a GoPro, I assume?
Yeah, I film mostly with a GoPro. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's tough. So like I'm a fisherman first, like to pretend like I kind of what filming I do now, I've like completely learned on the fly. Like I wasn't I didn't go to school to film. Like, I mean, like I'm a geologist by trade. So I barely know how to use the cameras that I'm using. And then I just kind of throw it together. Editing, I do enjoy the editing portion of it. But yeah, that's like, I'm a fisherman first. And I think that shows through and that like, I'm just out there fishing and having a good time. I'm not necessarily, thinking about, this is going to be the greatest video ever because I'm going to catch a 20-inch fish every cast because I know that I'm never going to catch a 20-inch fish every cast.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's just, yeah. But thank you. I mean, it means a lot. Seriously.
Yeah, it's good. You and I were chatting today. Ricky was thinking, is there ever a time where you feel like you just leave the camera in the truck and you're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with camera gear today. I just want to go fish for myself. Or has it gotten to the point where, you know what? I run a pretty cool page. I want to make sure I film everything I can, no matter what it is. Are there times where you ever want to leave the camera gear in the car, or you just gotten to the point where it's like, I'm filming everything no matter what I'm doing?
I mean, I always have a camera with me. Like I always bring my big camera just because like, I don't know, like, for example, a month or so ago, I caught like a 13 and some change native brook trout, which is huge for around here.
Sure. Yeah.
And I didn't have my GoPro with me. I had nothing, but I did have my big camera. So I was at least able to get some good pictures of it, which then I would use in a later video. So like rarely do I not have something with me, but I definitely do not film every time I go out. I would like to, but sometimes I'm just like, it's after work. I'm like, it's 4:00. I'm going to go hit a brookie stream down the road. I just won't bring it. Like, as I said, I just really enjoy fishing. So I'm not always necessarily trying to shoot a video.
Yep.
And a lot of times, another thing is like, I'll scout out a lot of things for a video, like I'll go out and I'll blue line for like 2 or 3 days. And then I'll just find that one stream. And I'm like, this stream is sick. The plunge pulls, the way the waterfalls are, like I'm catching lots of fish, and I just get excited. I'm like, this is gonna be a fun video to make.
So
and then I'll just back out and then come back. Yeah.
So that being said, when you find one of these spots, say I'm sure you have a group of buddies that you go out with from time to time. Do you ever roll up on a spot and your homie's like, do not film this place? You cannot put this on YouTube. Like this is my honey hole.
You ever run into other anglers? They're like, oh shit, here's that Hardman guy with all his camera gear. I mean, you're pretty remote.
No, not really. I've run into people that are like, oh, dude, you're the Hardman guy.
That's
I'm
awesome.
Like, yeah. It's like, oh, your name's John. I'm like, yeah. And like, oh, do you fish around here often? I'm like, no, I've never been here. This is my first time actually. What's up?
Where do you park? Can I park there? Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I guess there are places that even I won't film because I think they're special in some way.
Sure.
And I think that it's something that I've become more aware of as the channel's kind of grown, is that like even like 2 years ago, you know, like I wouldn't think twice about posting a video here, there, wherever, it didn't matter. And it wasn't until like maybe last year, maybe 2 years, where I would like fish somewhere, and then I would get like 20, 30 messages being like, you know, oh, I love that creek. That creek's awesome. Because people would fish it and they'd see it and they'd instantly recognize, like, oh, I know where that is.
Yep.
And then like after that started happening a little bit, I was like, whoa. And like I like took a step back. I was like, okay, I really need to like double check and make sure that like what I'm posting, like if I'm showing something where I'm getting out of the car, like what's in the background of the car, or like when I'm going down to fish a stream, like a brook trout streams, it doesn't they're a dime a dozen. It's tough to tell the difference between them. But like some of the wild brown trout streams and wild rainbow trout streams and stuff, it's like it added a new element, and it kind of a lot of places, like as I said, I won't film, and I'm sure there are people that probably wouldn't want me to film it there, but I've not run into anybody that like face to face was like, hey, get out, you know. So I've never run into that. No, but
No,
I am aware.
Yeah,
I think that helps my case with Matt here.
Yeah, we do the same thing around here, and I give you a lot of props for doing that, because the internet has ruined fishing in certain spots, for sure. Social media has ruined certain areas. Like I said, I give you a lot of props for doing that, because there's a lot of people out there that are just like, you know what, I don't care. I want the views, I want the subscribers, I want the whatever, I want the likes. So we do the same thing here. There's places where, I don't think I've posted a trout pic from some of our places in a couple years. I get people that are like, do you even fish anymore? I'm like, nope, I don't. Coming off like whatever, like the best trout season I've ever had, and I didn't post one photo. There's times where if you really enjoy something, and both for yourself, but also for, you got to respect the stream, you got to respect the fish.
The other people fishing it too.
The other people fishing it. So we get it. And that's kind of what I was thinking you were going to go with it. So it's nice to hear. I know it's a fine line that you walk with having a successful page and being entertaining and going cool places, but, also not destroying a fishery. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Man.
I'll do things too, where like I'll fish a particular river or stream or whatever. And I've got a file on my computer of clips of me catching like crazy trout that I just hold on to so that I can go back and look at them for the fun of it.
Yep.
But like I would never post them because they've got either some landmark in them, or there's like a road sign, or there's a bridge, or there's you can see some rock formation or something, and I'm like, man, I can't post it. I just, as sick as this would be, and as many people that would enjoy that, I know that like the quote unquote locals, which I consider myself a local, but
sure,
there's people that fish those streams hard that would probably not appreciate that.
Yep.
People are gonna recognize it anyway. Like if I could fish a creek in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and there's gonna be somebody that has fished that and is like, oh, like I recognize that plunge pool, that's such and such creek.
Yep.
So like you can't avoid that, and that's like, I don't view that as necessarily harmful, because like if you fish that plunge pool, then you already knew about it.
Sure.
And, like seeing a video on it's not the end of the world. But I don't want to like fish that plunge pool and then in the same video, get out of the creek and show like a church that says, such and such church on it, and then everybody's like, wait, that plunge pool's at such and such church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
no GPS coordinates.
I think some people don't realize it, but there's a lot of thought that goes into that.
No, well, I agree. I totally agree. We're all laughing here because Matt, the engineer, he's not a hardcore angler like we are, loves fishing, but we always drag him along with us for content. And there's certain places that we will bring Matt to take pictures of, but take pictures of in an angle where you can't see certain landmarks, a backdrop that could be anywhere in the country. And he was mad at us one day because we're like, bro, you can't film from there. He's like, why not? I'm like, there's a road with a welcome sign to the town next to where we're fishing, and like these Ricky
It
and
was
Matt,
heated that day.
Ricky and Matt, literally, I thought they were gonna fight. Like if they didn't fight after Matt beat Ricky at golf last weekend, the second time was when Matt was filming and taking pictures in this spot, and those guys, I mean, this was like right off the bat in the morning, I think.
Like
so for 8 more hours, these guys were just at each other's throat because Matt was like, why can't I film this? And Richard's like, because the town sign's right there. There's a posted sign. This is obvious. So anyways, it sounds like we're on the same page.
Sounds like you got it dialed in.
Like,
yeah. So
you'll be like fishing in the middle of town or something like that, and then you like catch a big trout and like, oh, but and then you like twist around to a certain angle and like so it's a bush, so it looks
totally
like and then there's like a pine tree or something. It's like, okay, that's a fairly safe picture because that could be anywhere. But I know what you mean. The little dance after you catch a fish.
Exactly. When did you? So you said you got into more hardcore fly fishing stuff like 5 years ago. When did you start your YouTube page? And what made you want to get your stuff on YouTube? Have you always been kind of a filmer, get it out there type dude, or like how does that all go down?
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm 25 going on 26, and I feel like if you're my age or younger, especially if you're younger, like you grew up watching YouTube, and like I grew up watching like fishing YouTubers and stuff all the time, and I mean, I fished all the time, so for me to like add a GoPro to my chest, I remember having a conversation with one of my buddies in high school. We were talking about it, and we were like, why don't we start a YouTube channel? Like, why has no one here? Why have we not started? We fish constantly. We catch some really cool stuff in some really cool areas. And like, I feel like there would be a niche for that on YouTube, because why not? And at the time, when I first started the YouTube channel, I think it was like 2018, there wasn't really any trout fishing channels. Now that's kind of rapidly changed, but at the time it's like nobody really existed, and the ones that did were like really small. So it was just like, oh, let's do this. And then I was kind of like, well, I'm just going to strap a GoPro and I'll just start filming. And some of my earlier videos were atrocious. Some of my first videos were smallmouth videos. And yeah, I just started making videos and making content. And I've always, like when I was younger, I drew a lot and stuff. So like, I look at like editing and creating the videos as like a creative outlet.
Yep.
Right now, like it's one thing to enjoy fishing. Like there's a lot of people that enjoy fishing that are there are a lot of people that are way better at fishing than I am that would probably make some sick YouTube videos. But like, if you don't care about YouTube first and foremost, but B, there's a lot of work that goes into it from behind the scenes. I mean, I was just talking about like trying not to spot burn and stuff. Like that takes a lot of time out of your day. And then to actually film if you catch a fish and then talk to the camera. Some people aren't good at that. And then to sit down like every night after work and edit for like hours on end to then post a video, to get a video uploaded every Friday and be like consistent with that. Mm-hmm. Like it just takes a lot of work. So yeah, well, I mean, I guess to be honest, I don't have like some crazy reason for starting a YouTube channel. I don't know. I watched YouTube growing up and I fished all the time, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll start making a YouTube channel.
No, it's great, man.
Think it'd be successful, I guess.
No, the editing is huge. You might get an email from Matt, the engineer, to see if you want to edit our podcast, because editing podcasts, like we're running 3 cameras. We got your audio, our audio. We're like you were new to YouTube. You're always new to something when you first start, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we're new to a podcast. I feel like we're pretty dialed in, even though I'm sure this thing will evolve into something bigger. But yeah, the editing is the editing. Yeah, we appreciate it. A lot of work did go into this, but the editing side of probably this podcast and like your videos, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that people don't see. Where do you feel like you're getting the most success for your YouTube page? Like in my eyes, it's, like I said, you got a great personality, you come off well, and your content's really good. Like, where do you feel like, are you really good with, I don't want to say it SEO, but like your descriptions in the YouTube where people can find are you titling things correctly? Is it because your content's just legit? You know what I mean? Like, is it because you're a handsome guy? Like, what's going on? Where are you getting the success here?
It's definitely not the last one. I know that much. But I mean, there's a couple things. One is like, and I mean, there's people that ask me all the time, like, you know, like I want to start a YouTube channel. Do you have any advice? It's like, you just got to be consistent. Like you got to do it and not stop. And that's the hardest thing. And just naturally, it's the same thing with fishing. If you went fly fishing once a month or less than once a month, like, you know, 6 times a year, and then you're like, I've been fly fishing for 20 years and I've never caught a fish that's 20 inches long. It's like, how many times did you go?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you started a YouTube channel and you only post like once every other month or something like that, and then you're like, man, why am I not getting views? It's like, you're not consistent enough for people to come back to it. A, B, like you just naturally get better editing and filming and like having the eye to like look and be like, oh, that would be cool B-roll, or, ooh, if I catch the fish, like this is a cool release I can do on the fish and get a good shot of it and stuff like that. And especially like on the editing side of things, it's like your first video is going to be trash, you know. Maybe if you're lucky in 2 years, you can like make a video and you're like, that's pretty good. And then you watch your first one and you're like, woo, you know, I might want to unlist that one because that is rough. You know what I mean? So it's like, but that's good. That shows that you're like, you know, you're coming along as a content creator. But I don't think that's why it's successful necessarily, because there's a lot of people. I mean, I have friends that like have YouTube channels that post consistently and they don't necessarily always get the views either. Right. So I think it's also just sometimes I occasionally do catch big fish and people like when people catch big fish.
For sure.
And then I guess also fly fishing is like so freaking ego driven now. Like everybody thinks that they're like the best. And it's kind of annoying. It's kind of off-putting. It's like everybody's like, this is my 55th wild brown trout that's over 20 inches. And it's like, I just go out there and I'm like, listen, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try to catch a fish today, guys. So hope you guys enjoy, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And like, that's partially why. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that's pretty much what I felt like, you know, you're a good angler, but you genuinely, you know, kind of where you're at and your skill and ability level. You own it. And I think that's what a lot of people like relate to, you know what I mean? Like if I'm just getting into fly fishing, or maybe I'm like decent at fly fishing, but I want to watch some like stuff on YouTube. Like I don't want to watch some like arrogant dude that's like done it all, been there, done that. I'd rather feel like I could relate to someone that's, you know, this is where I'm at in my skill level. This is what we're doing today. And you get what you get. So, I mean, I think people relate to that the most.
And even just like as an example of that, it's like, people would ask me all the time to like make videos on like how I catch fish, and I won't do it a lot of times. And like some people might get frustrated, but it's like, I legitimately feel like I don't even exactly know what I'm doing yet. So when I figure it out, I'll make a video and tell you how I figured it out. But like I've started in the past like year or so doing a lot of Euro nymphing. I've probably been 2 years now doing a lot of Euro nymphing. People all the time are like, what rig are you using for Euro nymphing? I'm like, man, don't ask me. Like,
it's different every day.
I'm also looking up on YouTube like best Euro rig for trout. You know what I mean? Like I don't exactly know what I'm doing either, but like you see me catch a nice fish or something, you're like, oh, he must know what he's doing. It's like, no, I actually really don't most of the time. Like I just make it up as I go. And then like it wasn't until maybe the last year that I started like doing some like fly fishing for beginners type stuff, like that Walmart challenge. Yep. And I started a little series where like I try to answer people, like the most liked comment below the video, like you can leave comments, the most liked comment. I try to make a video and answer their question. And it's like really basic stuff, like how to use a dry dropper.
Sure.
It's like, I didn't even feel comfortable until like the last year or so, to where I felt like I got my knowledge to the point where I could answer questions and not just come off as like, you know, some dude that pretends like he knows everything.
Yep.
So
I think that means a lot to people.
No, it totally does. I mean, 100%. We're all in customer service. I mean, Scott's the customer service wizard over here.
Like I get that question all the time. Like, oh, like how do I rig this?
Right.
Like I had one today, and I was like, well, it's
that was really a technical one today.
It was a very technical one. The guy was like, do I have to taper it down? Like, what's up with the 20-pound like butt section? Like, where do I go into the indicator? I'm like, well, it's really different for everybody. You know, depends where you're fishing, what you're fishing for.
Yep.
Like how you want to rig it.
Sure. Your skill level,
size of flies, everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's one of the things, like, we all started from somewhere. Scott, you're getting into fly fishing now. Been,
I mean,
what, a couple years?
I started on the Fair Play combo kit
Sure.
when I was like in college, like late college too. I've only been doing it a few years now. And, you know, from what I've learned just by going out and experimenting with different flies, different setups, different rigs, that's really all it is. You know, it's you find what works for different situations.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, you know, like you were saying, John, like, we really pride ourselves on having great customer service here at Cortland, specifically with like customer questions like that. Like, we all started somewhere. I know I had a lot of questions. I was fortunate enough to get brought up to speed without having to call, email, or publicly ask someone because I work here at Cortland. Like, you're on a fast track to like know everything at Cortland. One, because you might answer someone else's question. They might answer a question that you have. And when you live and breathe it every single day, you just, you know, if you're obsessed with it like we are, you just end up retaining it. I know that you started at some point in your life. So when someone asks you a question, it's like, you want to elaborate as much as you can. Just spoon feed them everything that you can in their question. And you know they appreciate it. You would if you were in their shoes. So that's cool that you do that. I mean, we try to do the same thing here at Cortland pretty much every single time we get a phone call, an email, a question on social media. I mean, there's one, two, three, there's probably 6 of us in here that will bounce around a question that we get from a customer and try to take care of it as best we can. Scotty, pretty much, he's like the front lines. He answers everything he can. And if you can't, shoot it down the line. And I'm sure Scott sees the response and just retains whatever that answer was. So that's really cool. John, where do you see your YouTube channel in like 5 years? Like, if you had a crystal ball, or let's say, like, what is the ultimate goal with your YouTube channel? I mean, are you trying to be like a TV star here? You want to just continue down this path of, you know, do you want your own TV show on ESPN? Like, you know, do you want to just, are you enjoying what you're doing? Do you have like this bigger picture of where you want to move this thing to? Does that make sense?
Yeah. First thing, before we get into that question, I'd like to say that, like, if you're new to fly fishing, or if you're just even like at any stage of fly fishing, when I get the question, my number one answer is always like, spend time on the water. Like, you could look at me and be like, oh, you've only been like seriously fly fishing for 5 years. It's like, yeah, but if I fly fished for 5 years, but I fly fished 2 hours a day every day for 5 years, then like you got to look at time on the water.
Sure.
So if you want to know how to catch fish, you just got to spend more time on the water.
Yep.
Like, that's all there is to it. Like, anyway.
I agree. I agree. You just because
I heard one of you guys mention it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just because you get an answer to your question doesn't mean you can go replicate it and do it. Like you said, you time on the water.
Yeah, if you're going to watch a video and then think that you're going to be able to like go out and replicate like what I'm doing, if I'm brook trout fishing and I've brook trout fished every day for 5 years, you know, and then you watch it and you're like, oh, why can't I do that? Like, what's your advice? It's like, just, you got to do it more.
Try.
I agree.
You will be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's like when Matt watches golf on YouTube and tries to go and do it on the weekends. I'm like, bro, it doesn't work like that.
Did last weekend.
Yeah, it did last weekend because Ricky was awful. But yeah, so where do you see this page going? Hardman Fishing Adventures.
I guess there's 2 things. One is, I don't know about being a TV star. I don't know if I can handle that. That's a little bit much. But I look at the YouTube channel. There's 2 things. One is I'd like to travel a lot more. And I don't mean like travel out west necessarily, although there's a couple things I want to do out west. Like, I'd love to catch bull trout. And I'd love to like go to Oregon and Washington. I'd love to go to Alaska and stuff like that. But I'm talking like big trips. Like, I'd love to catch tame in Mongolia.
Sure.
And stuff like that. Like, those are trips that I really, really, really want to make. And I look at like YouTube as the vessel to basically enable me to knock off bucket list items while I can. You know, it's like, oh, no, I got to do it for YouTube videos. Don't worry. That's why I'm going to Mongolia.
Right.
And then the second thing is I got to do this without being cheesy, but like, I want to give back. So, I mean, I already do like river cleanups and stuff like that, and do like fingerling stockings and stuff. But it's like, it kind of came along. It was the same revelation of when I was like, oh, a lot of people are messaging me saying that like they know the stream I'm fishing. it's like that same revelation kind of came, and it was like, whoa, there's a lot of people that like watch these videos. And if I can harness that like power, like if I can harness the 20,000 people that are watching the videos every week, it's like, and use that to like start a fundraiser or something. Like I have this idea in my mind to like do like some sort of fundraiser and then donate the money to like a Trout Unlimited project, and then be able to go out and watch the Trout Unlimited project get done. So like literally like do some like stream rehabilitation projects.
Yep.
Hands on, start to finish.
And like show like, so you have like a series that's like the whole concept is to raise money for this fundraiser. And then when the series is over, the money goes to Trout Unlimited or whoever it might be. And then you make another like follow-up series on like the stream improvements, like putting in the K dams or whatever it may be.
Yep. That's awesome.
That's cool.
So like doing stuff like to kind of give back, because it's like, I don't know, I fished all this water growing up since I was a little kid. So it's like, I'm finally to the point where I feel like I can kind of give back. If I can find the time to do it, that is.
Sure.
But, yeah, I guess in 5 years, ideally, I'd be able to do some fundraising type stuff and actually truly give back more than, I'm like talking like beyond just going out and doing stockings or something, like actually give back either monetarily or through getting people like together to like help out with a project and get a bunch of volunteers or something like that. Because I just think that would be cool to do.
That's awesome. No, that's super cool. Sounds like you're just a good dude. You know what's going on, giving back, not spot burning. That's freaking killer, dude. So what, last couple questions here. So Hardman Fishing Adventures on YouTube. Where else can people find your stuff? Are you just on YouTube? Are you on social media? Do you have a website?
I don't have a website right now. I'd love to have a website, but you know, that takes more time, effort, and energy.
Matt, the engineer, said he'll trade you podcast editing and he'll build you a website.
Do a little exchange so I can get a website going.
Go ahead. Where can people find you?
But I am, I don't have a website, but I am on pretty much all social media. I just started TikTok this year too, so I'm even doing TikTok.
Nice.
Just like some of the edited intros and stuff.
Yeah, Scotty's a big TikToker over here. He loves that comment.
I like to study the algorithms.
Yeah, you can follow me. I think TikTok is Hardman Fishing.
Okay.
No Adventures. I think Instagram is probably Hardman. I should probably know this stuff. I really don't. That shows you how good I am at shouting out my own stuff.
You know, putting you on the spot here.
Hardman Fishing Adventures.
No, what we'll do is when we air this podcast, because these are pre-taped, maybe someday we'll go live once we get better at this. But for now, we're rookies. I'll buzz you and we'll get all your info and we'll put it in, the description on whatever this airs on YouTube, Facebook, social media, whatever we put it up. We'll hook you up and we'll make sure guys have the links to your stuff. What are you laughing at, Matt, back there? I can't take this kid serious after he beat Ricky's ass at golf last week. So, man, you said it all, John. We appreciate you coming on. I'm not going to hold you up anymore because you're probably looking at a bunch of gear you're trying to pack for Colorado. Make sure you have a good trip. Next year when you decide to head up to the Delaware system, which you should, give us a call. Come up. We're an hour away. We'll give you a tour of the plant. You'll check out the plant. Maybe do a podcast in person, a year from today or something like that. And get us out of the office and we'll go down and we'll slay some trout.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. I'll definitely hit you up about the Delaware. And I think this is my first podcast. It's the first time I've been asked to be on a podcast. So,
well, it's our first podcast too. So no, I'm just kidding. It's actually our second one.
It's everybody's first podcast.
Yeah, there you go. I feel like you did a great job. Scotty, Ricky, you guys did a great job. All right, man, go pack for Colorado. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Have a good night.
See you later.
Yep, you too. See ya.
Man, that was he's a cool dude.
He's a really cool dude.
He's a cool dude. I want to fish with that guy.
Yeah.
I want to fish with him more than Ricky over here.
He's wearing the old Natives hat too.
Yeah, what was it? It said like West Virginia. It was like a hook.
That's my dude.
With the nets?
View. Yeah, catch cam.
That's
Natives
cool.
Fly fishing.
Nice. Shout out Native Fly Fishing.
Native Fly Fishing. West Virginia, baby.
Yeah, I talked to John on the phone a few days ago, kind of give him a rundown of like how this was gonna air, and I was like, and I've seen his videos. Like I legit watched almost all of his videos. Just had him on when we were setting up this thing. I'm like, this guy's gonna crush it. You know what I mean? I get nervous. I mean, I get nervous for myself, for you guys, but for the guests, I'm like, this podcast might suck. You know, there could be a lot of dead air time here, but you guys did great. I mean, he's an awesome guest.
Yeah.
We just got to keep these good guests rolling.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like Travis crushed it last week. Like we said, you know, I was sort of hoping that he would unconsciously like take over the show and host it for us just because he has those types of shows. So, anyways, that dude's cool.
Yeah,
We'll have to-
I really like that he's like super into the conservation part of it too.
yeah. What is he, a
He works
geologist
for
or something?
the Department of Environmental
So he's
Protection.
already he's like, I want to give back. I'm like, well, you kind of already are with
Yeah.
your
Full-time.
job. You're doing it all day, every day, and then you're going to do it. So I
I feel like it's so important because like you can ask so many anglers now today, like any fishing spot you go to, you're gonna see at least one piece of trash
Sure.
somewhere. So it's like, you know, come on, let's clean up some water around here.
Clean it
no,
up.
he's awesome, man. Hopefully he does come up next year and we go fishing on the Delaware. I know he'll definitely be in for a rude awakening when he goes to target those trout. They're a little different than West Virginia. They see a little bit more pressure down there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yo, let's get to my favorite segment of the show. Your questions, Mr. Scott McCann over here, sitting Scotty today. I don't know. I feel like if we don't have a guest in the studio, Scott should be here every time. Like he's dialed, you know, maybe.
Looks good.
I like hanging out.
We can't have a blank chair, you know. Got a
Yeah.
leg lamp and a lava lamp with a blank, you know. Just we got to fill in the studio. Not that you
Make
fill,
it cozy.
not that you fill it.
Oh,
you know,
come
it's
on.
not. That was not a. That was not a weight jab. All right, Scotty.
What do we got? What do we got?
What-
What do the people
What's the
wanna
first?
know?
Yeah, what's the first? So give us. So we answer the questions that we'll get on. You know, frequently asked questions on. You know, YouTube, Facebook, social media, on our info. Sometimes we'll send out an Instagram or social media post about an upcoming podcast. That's like, hey, what questions do you want to hear read on our show, and maybe we'll read them off. So.
Yeah.
Scotty, what's the first one you got?
All right, so the first one's from David. He asks, now this is a good one because we're going into the new year soon.
Oh yeah.
And it's, is Cortland coming out with any new trout lines for 2023?
Ooh, 2023. Yeah, we are.
Sir.
So I think we have we have some new additions to some existing products. We got some additional sizes, both in grains and true line sizes for some of the trout lines. But we have 3 new streamer lines we're introducing this year.
Yeah, 3 new streamer sink tips.
Sink tips. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have
sink.
our streamer series. Right now it has a full floating line, a 10-foot Type 6 sink tip, and a 15-foot Type 6 sink tip. We are adding the streamer sink tip 10 Type 3 this year. So it's going to be a 3-inch per second sink rate, 10-foot sink tip with floating running line. And then we have the streamer sink tip 25, which is 25 feet of Type 6 sink tip with floating running line. And then the streamer dredge 30, which is 30 feet of Type 8, 8-inch per second sinking material with intermediate running line. So small streams with the Type 3, maybe shallower water with the Type 3, bigger rivers, and even, you know, still water applications, you know, for the streamer sink tip 25 and the streamer dredge 30. So yeah, be on the lookout for those. Maybe before 2023, like maybe late November, December, we should have
sneak
those.
peek.
Yeah, little sneak peek. Those will be available. So yeah, check those out. Local Cortland Line dealer, and probably get them up on our website as soon as they're ready.
Yeah.
Stoked on those.
Yeah,
Speaking
they'll be
of
sick.
Local dealers. Our next question from Walter. I'm old fashioned and prefer not to order products online. How can I find a shop that sells Cortland Line near me?
It's easy. It's easy. You still got to go online though.
You still
So
kinda
Walter's
gotta go
got it.
online,
Walter's
yeah.
got to
Old
go.
At least go on our
Everything.
website.
www.cortlandline.com. Go to the bottom of the page.
3 W's.
Did I say www? Yeah, I did. Bottom of the page, shop locator. You could put in town,
Your zip code, right?
your home address, and it will dial you into the closest retailer. So we keep that thing up to date. weekly. New dealer comes on board, they are on there. So anybody that wants to find out who is servicing them the closest, just go on to cortlandline.com, shop locator on the bottom of the page, put in your details, and
so you
we'll spit it
get
out.
on the homepage and you scroll all the way down to the
all on the
bottom,
bottom.
and there's a thing. It's literally called shop locator.
Link, yep.
You can punch in your zip code or your town,
Anything.
and then the whole thing just kind of populates around your area.
Yeah, it goes by the closest. So you
You do a radius,
Yeah, it
right?
doesn't
50
give
mile,
you-
100 mile radius.
It doesn't just give you the closest; it gives you like everyone that's
Sure.
in your area.
So depending how far old Walter wants to drive,
Yeah.
you can give himself a little bit of radius.
Yeah, and it's always good to support your local fly shops.
Hell
of
yeah.
course.
And all
Don't
the
buy
contacts,
everything
all the
online.
contact info's on there too.
Yeah,
So
address, email.
for a specific
Not that he would
line,
want to
you just
email
call
them. Phone number, so you pick up the phone, call them for hours and stuff like that. Like it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Take a lot of pride in updating that, and we love when we get new dealers coming on board and we get to enter their stuff into the system and get them up there.
tack them on.
What's next?
Cool. Next one's from Jeff. I just bought a Nymph series rod and I love it so far. I noticed it came with a warranty card and was wondering what to do if anything happens to the rod and I break a section.
So it comes with a warranty. I mean, you're going to be the best guy to answer that
Yeah,
one,
I'll
Scotty.
go ahead with that
All
one.
right, let it rip.
Yeah, so most of our rods, is it 1 year or 2 year? I know we were talking about this the other day.
Two.
So
2.
when you buy a rod from us, it is covered for 2 years from the day you purchase it. Hold on to that proof of purchase, your receipt, wherever you get it, whether it's a fly shop or online with us. Make sure you register the rod on our website, cortlandline.com. Go to the bottom. There's the product registration tab right there. That way we have it on file here. If you do break a section, either give us a call or send us an email to info@cortlandline.com. We will take care of you. If it's within those first 2 years, we'll replace that section for free. After the 2 years, it is a $50 flat rate fee for each replacement section that you get.
Does it cover shipping?
It is free shipping
Cool.
on there as well. Let us know how you broke it to. Be honest with us. If it's an accident, if you stepped on it, or if you slammed it in your car door.
Sure.
We'll try to help you out as best we can. But yeah, we've seen all different types of situations.
And sometimes we get rod warranties are tricky. I mean,
Yeah.
let's just be honest. I mean, we have people that email us with rods that were Cortland rods they broke from 1975.
Yeah.
And we take care of them.
And we damn right we do. We might not have that. Actually, I know we don't have that rod from 1975, but we'll try to upgrade them into something that's
Yeah. And
equal to, action wise or weight wise. Like
with that too, it's kind of same deal. For most of those older rods that we don't have the parts for, we do a deal where if you mail us your broken rod, we can replace it again with a new rod. We have 4 different weight options for 9-foot graphite rods to choose from, and it's another $50 flat
Sure.
rate with free shipping.
So at the end of the day, send us an email, call us, be honest with us, tell us what's going on. We're probably going to take care of you.
We like to help people out.
Yeah,
so.
Scotty's here to help you out. And if Scotty's not doing it, someone else is going to help you out. But Scotty's always here.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, last one is from Thomas. I'm heading up to Pulaski soon to fish the Salmon River and will be passing by Cortland. Do you give factory tours?
Ooh. So Thomas, you said? All right, so Thomas headed up Pulaski to go steelhead fishing. Do we do factory tours? The answer is yes, we do, Thomas. Yeah, I mean, we're in Cortland, New York. I remember someone called one time. They're like, did they name the city after Cortland? I'm like, no. It was the other way around. But we are located in Cortland, New York. I don't want to say that we're like open doing plant tours, but yes, if you come by, you're going fishing somewhere and you're swinging down Interstate 81 and you look us up, give us a call prior to, make sure we're here, available. But yeah, dude, we do tours, swing on in. We'll give you the 5, 10, 15-minute tour, show you where everything's made right behind this wall. I guarantee it's going to blow your mind. I don't think I've given one tour, and I know you guys haven't either, where someone was like,
Disappointed.
I was expecting more. These guys leave here and their head explodes. They're like, oh my God, you make everything here. So yes, we do plant tours. Just please give us a buzz, prior to, let us know so we can help you out. So, and good luck on the Salmon River steelhead fishing. So awesome, Scotty. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that segment. I don't know why. I
It's
just think
so fun.
I know. Well, Scott's just such a cheesy, good chipper dude. Well, I had fun today, guys.
good.
I think we ran for like a little over an hour today. I feel like it goes quick. You know what I mean? Like it starts off slow, and I'm like, man, I don't know if we're gonna make a good, decent, long show today. And then all of a sudden, like I look up at the clock, I'm like, dude, we've been jabbering for over an hour. It does help to have good guests. Jon was an awesome guest.
Absolutely.
We got some killer guests lined up for, well, every podcast. I'm not going to have any dud podcast guests out there. So one of these times we might not even have a guest. We're just going to sit in here and we're just going to bullshit for over an hour. We're going to talk about how Matt beat Ricky at golf and how Ricky wants to get back at him. We might have Matt sit in.
Revenge tour.
Revenge tour. We'll make fun of Matt about how he tries to spot burn us every time we go and shoot media. I don't know.
Mr. Bogey.
Mr. Bogey, yeah.
Single bogey.
We're kind of concerned that Matt doesn't know how to count his strokes because he takes so many strokes on the fairway. Like Ricky was like, "Did you really have a bogey the other day?" I was like, "Yeah, I counted him." He's like, "Dude, he duffed it 4 times in the fairway, and then he 3-putted." I was like, "I think he duffed it 3 times, and he did have." I'm like, "Yeah, it's 6. It's a bogey." He's like, "I know, I count them too," and he's right, but
I'm riding with him next round.
yeah. So I keep score for the group. And
yeah, look at his.
It's hard to keep score when these dudes are shooting 8s and 11s.
Listen,
you
it's
know,
one round.
I'm like, it took me
One
an hour to
round.
tally up 9 holes the other day.
One
I'm like,
round.
a
One
56, a 52. Then we got done with 18. I was over 100 for 2 guys.
One round.
Oh my God.
One round.
Brutal.
Just got new clubs, dude. Come on.
All right. I'm done with
We're
your
done.
with your
exactly.
garbage
We're done
club
here.
content.
We're done here.
So anyways, guys, thanks for joining our show today. I had a great time. We appreciate it. Check us out on YouTube, all the social media channels. Give us a buzz, info@cortlandline.com. Give us a call if you got any questions on what's new, warranty stuff, to talk to Scott. Maybe you just want to say good morning to Scott because he's such a nice dude.
I'm here early. too.
Scott's here early, thank God, because that's when questions kind of roll in. Some dude wakes up, he's like, my rod's broke, I had to call Scott.
Yeah.
So Scott's the first line of defense for Cortland. So anyways, thanks for joining us, folks. Join us next time on Cortland Hooked the Podcast.